What role did this church play in the Alabama Christian movement for human rights?
Well, Bethl was the movement, and the movement was Bethl. This is where it began. This is Reverend Shuttlesworth's church. Members of this church were 100% behind everything that he did. The movement, his office was in the upper room. The church secretary worked for him. The secretary of the movement came here. All the members were all behind everything that happened in the Birmingham movement. Any church that was involved in the 50s and 60s challenging segregation laws was subject to be bombed, its members intimidated and harassed. So Bethl received its goodly share of such treatment. It was bombed 3 times. The parsonage was bombed Christmas night, 1956. It fell down on top of Reverend Shuttlesworth, who walked out unscathed. And that was the moment at which someone in the congregation that was gathered outside said, "The Lord saved the Reverend to lead the movement." Bethl was bombed again. That bomb was on the side of the church, and it was thought to have been an attempt to destroy Shuttlesworth's base here at Bethl. I'm not sure why they bombed the 3rd time, but they did. But bombing of the churches where the movement met, intimidation of members, was a regular occurrence. The movement, which was organized when the state banned the NAACP from operating in Alabama, met every Monday night in a network of churches that all became 60 churches scattered across the working class areas of Birmingham. It met in these churches so that it could tell the story to people, share what was going on in the legal challenges, and raise money to help finance the legal challenges against segregated laws. It met, it gained steam. The early churches could hold maybe 300 to 400 regulars, but as the movement won many cases and as things progressed, by 1962 they were meeting in churches that were 600 to 900 large. And then during the spring of 1963, of course, the action took place downtown in the large city center churches in and around Kelly Ingram Park. Beginning in the 90s, Birmingham Historical Society started researching churches that were involved as mass meeting sites and were involved in the civil rights struggle here in the city. And Bethl rose to the top of those important churches. And so we began a campaign on National Historic Landmarks that actually took us longer than it took Fred Shuttlesworth to dismantle legal segregation in the city to obtain landmark status for this church. But that was successful in 2005. And interestingly, when National Landmarks started studying the civil rights movement, and they began with a study of the freedom rides, just on the basis of Shuttlesworth and Bethl Baptist Church participation in the freedom rides, it was named a National Historic Landmark because Shuttlesworth lived here. He coordinated the freedom rides across the state of Alabama from this place. Church members helped and picked up the freedom riders. He ran the whole operation right out of this place, as he had run much of the movement from Bethl. Now the church is under restoration. A new church was built. It is currently being restored to the conditions just following the first bombing. And we are working to develop historic interpretation at the church, and we hope that visitors will actually come out here and get the feel of what it was like from the real people who stood behind the movement for many, many years. Because the story of Birmingham is a story of common people standing up for their rights, standing up in the streets of Birmingham until they win rights for all. And Shuttlesworth was the only one of the major SCLC leaders who actually had a local movement. That is, people that supported him through many years of many court battles and many challenges and many boycotts and many, many other kinds of campaigns against very, very restrictive local laws, that finally, in the spring of April, May, with the help of King and the SCLC staff, grew into one of the most amazing testimonies of people standing up for their rights anywhere in history, anywhere that's happened.